afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We got lots of people joining in, so we're going to give everybody a minute or two to get in and get started. But we are back with the third installment of our Building and Aspire Landscape Construction webinar series today. And we are just excited about the content today. We're going to be talking about construction production management. So how do we manage all these big jobs that we are doing in the system using the tools? And we've got some great tools that we're going to be sharing with you. Greg Malmberg is going to be leading us through the training session today. Of course, we have the ability to ask and answer questions that we'll be going through, and we'll be resourcing some great experts from other Aspire users to share with us as well towards the end of today's webinar. Just a real quick reminder, we do have 2 additional webinars after today. On Thursday, we will be tackling construction reporting, and next Tuesday, we will be taking a look at invoicing for submitting pay applications directly from Aspire. I'm excited of those as we get going here. Also, a quick reminder, the Aspire Care knowledge base has been updated with resources for construction. We have several training videos that are specific to construction projects that we have produced and published, and also the last 2 webinars from estimating last week have been published to the knowledge base as well. All right, it's election day. Didn't schedule this on purpose for it to be election day, but it is, so I hope everyone's taken their civic responsibility and voted. If not, make sure you do that before your polls close. We're not going to tell you who to vote for, nor do we want to know who you're voting for or get into that discussion, but we are going to talk about a lot of really good production management tools in Aspire. So here's today's agenda that Greg is going to walk us through as we go through today's training with the team. Greg, I will turn it over to you.
All right, let's go. Can everyone see you see my screen okay?
We got it. And Greg, real quick, one thing I forgot to mention, we absolutely love questions, and we want to see your questions, but use the Q&A question tool to ask those. It helps us keep track of those, and if you try to chat with us, we will probably miss it. So use that Q&A tool in the Zoom toolbar, and we'll take a look at those and get your questions answered as we go along.
Absolutely. I'll take some pauses between sections as well, just to make sure we're not missing anything. So, good afternoon, everybody. Where we are going today, the world of production management and construction jobs. What we're going to start with is everyone's favorite topic in the world of work ticket management. Where I'm going to start with is I'm going to head over to the schedule board. Now, in work ticket management, to the idea and what we're trying to cover today, we're not really getting into the weeds on how do I build the lists, how do I create the filters and save them. I think most of us as Aspire users are familiar with lists and how we use them to manage work. I really just want to focus on what is a little different in the world of construction. How might the list be used a little different? What should I be looking for? So I'll start with the schedule board. I'm going to look at the work ticket list from here. And what I want to point out here is I have a list built, filtered down to my construction tickets. Item 1 I want to point out, in the construction world, most of the time, think about your grouping. This is grouped by property in this current example. It could be also additional layer based off the opportunity, but that's where we start. It's a big difference between the world of maintenance and enhancements versus what we're looking at here, right? I want to see the big picture. I want to see everything we've got lined up for this big job coming up. This list is also a little different because I have 2 statuses on this. I have open and scheduled. What this gives me the ability to do is, again, now it's going to vary by each company, how many construction type jobs you have going on, but it lets me see what is scheduled versus what is left, so I can just make sure I'm not missing a ticket. I can make the right decision when I'm lining that up and putting it out on the schedule board. Okay. And that's a big shift from a lot of the maintenance lists we talk about all the time. When it comes down to scheduling the ticket, what I want to point out on the schedule board side from a production manager perspective, let's think about these estimated hours, because that's going to relate to how do we schedule those hours. So if I see this job up here, I have a 242-hour ticket. Let's say I'm getting ready to get it done. I want to start to drag that out to the board. And I'm going to pull it out, and we're going to start on Tuesday. And what happened here? It didn't warn me. So what I want to do is I want to trigger this. What I want to pay attention to when I schedule these visits are the hours that I schedule per visit for my crew. This is a 242-hour ticket. I do not want to schedule my guys 242 hours every day of the week to do this job. I want to manage my hours and schedule based off my crew size and capacity and what we have lined up. Maybe I can only get 50 hours done today, or that's what I want to schedule. But that's what we track. One of the things we often see is when a ticket is scheduled, it comes out, we schedule 242, we don't adjust the scheduled hours, and now I'm scheduling, 1,000 hours for a job when the total job was really 250. So if I keep those visit hours in mind when I'm scheduling, now same schedule board rules apply. I can drag and drop. I can put these out on the board, right? 50 hours a day, that's fine. But I'm being realistic with what I schedule with the crews. This is what they see at mobile. This is their target. And this is what they shoot for. And we go over to the main work ticket list. And we have a few just example lists again. Screen. I have a scheduled construction ticket list. This is geared towards, right, what are the construction tickets I have scheduled today? And what I really want to point out on this list are two fields, percent complete and future visits. Percent complete is tracking. Here's one that I have 20%. What are the actual costs versus the costs that I have estimated? So this can be viewed, what am I scheduling? And am I tracking correctly based off what we estimated? The other field I want to point out here, which is very helpful, are future visits. So if I'm looking at a list of scheduled construction tickets, what is future visits telling me? Do we have visits scheduled for this ticket in the future? And the idea is, in ticket management, if I don't have a visit scheduled in the future, is this ticket status right? Does that mean we forgot to complete it? I should complete it. If that's the case, totally fine. Let's get it completed. Or do I need to schedule additional visits? We're going to go back twice next week. Let's put them on the board. Let's get them scheduled. If I scroll down a little bit here, you can see here's what it looks like when a ticket does have visits scheduled in the future. It's in a scheduled status. We've got 5 more visits. That's why it's in my schedule list. I'm comfortable with it. I know why it's there. The next list is similar to the schedule board list we look at. Again, it's a slightly different look than what we're used to. I'm looking at 2 statuses. because I just want to look at the whole job just to make sure I'm not missing something. So I've got a demo ticket scheduled, right? There's 3 other jobs. They're still open. We haven't scheduled anything. I also, just from a construction perspective, which is more common, I want to look at the big picture. Different from a maintenance contract. We're not just mowing. We're not just fertilizing. I want to look at everything so we can plan accordingly and be proactive with the tickets. The next ticket list here, right? It's our pending list. Again, filter to construction. I'm still grouping by property, or we can add an opportunity level if in there if there's multiple opportunities across that property. But what are we doing with that pending approval list? This is saying the crews have completed it. I want to make sure the information I'm looking at here is correct. Is it accurate? Did we do everything we expected we would do? So I've got a demo ticket here, estimated 100 hours. I've only got actual hours of 30. Probably got completed before it was really done. Maybe it was completed by mistake, and that's fine. These tickets can be uncompleted, but we use this pending approval process to make sure this exact reason, it's not really done, it was a mistake. I can uncomplete it, we keep working, we'll complete it when it's finally finished. Same thing here, it's in pending approval. I don't have costs on this. What am I using this for? Do the hours look correct? Do purchases look correct? Are my sub costs there? Because what I'm going to do after this is if everything checks out, I'm going to approve it. That's when it goes to a complete status. That ticket is done in the world of that project. We move on to the other tickets. Okay. Same rule applies. If I don't like what I see, and the materials don't look right, did I miss a cost? I could uncomplete it. I could approve it. Okay. Now, the other work ticket list I want to point out, which a lot of the time gets missed, is the opportunity work ticket list. So I'm going to go to an opportunity list. You can get there by going to any opportunity. Let's click into this one up here. There is a work ticket list within every opportunity. In construction, a lot of people go to this list because, again, it might be a big enough job. I don't want the noise from the other jobs. I just want to focus on opportunity 1833. This is all I want to look at. This is all I'm worried about. We'll come to the opportunity. You can come to this white piece of paper, and there's a work ticket list here as well. This is just built up as a ticket review. It's grouped by status. Again, here's what's scheduled, open. I'm looking at estimates versus actuals. Are we tracking correctly? Is there something we think we missed? And I want to look at it I want to zero in on this opportunity without looking at anything else. Okay. So far, so good, Travis. Any questions pop in?
I think we're good for the moment.
Okay. Got it. So we're managing our work tickets. We're keeping an eye on status. Are we scheduling? Are we reviewing, completing, approving? We might catch things that need to be fixed, or we want to be proactive with open tickets. There could be a landscape install coming up. We get into the world of purchasing. So from a purchasing perspective, I'm going to go to example that I have here. I've got a landscape renovation install lined up. There's multiple work tickets on it. I'm going to look at it from here. I'm going to go to the work ticket list and the opportunity because I want to get ready. I want to order materials for this landscape portion of the job. So most people are also used to going to purchasing assistant all the time to create purchase receipts, which is great, but you also have the ability to create purchase receipts from work tickets. So if I come into this ticket, this is my landscape install, there's my 400 hours, got all my estimated materials. I have some costs already aligned here. I can click into that and see what those are. Right here. So I've got some tree stake kits that I've already purchased and allocated to this ticket. But what I really want to do is this isn't getting scheduled for another week or two. I want to get ready to get these 100 trees lined up so we can do the job. So if I go to the gear in the lower right, I can also create receipts from work tickets. And I'm going to create this receipt. There are my estimated materials. Now, I already bought the tree stake kits, so this is 0. But there are these trees that I need to buy, so I'm going to go find my vendor. Oh, we'll get them from a growing service, and I'm going to buy all 100. And I didn't check the box. And in construction, excuse me, what I really want to point out, same rules apply in purchasing so far. I've created a receipt. I want to order 100 trees. I have the ability today to do a receive date and receive this receipt. And what happens when this receipt is received is all of those costs are applied to the work ticket. Okay. So if I look at my ticket, I now have $29,000 of trees costed to the ticket because I received it. And if I look at this gear, I can take a quick snapshot of my earned revenue. I have now earned $72,000 on this job. And in the world of construction, what I probably don't want to do, I might not want to earn all that revenue this month. I might not want to recognize all of that cost this month. So what we have is the ability to adjust the purchase receipt. It's called job inventory. It's a different approach. So if I go back into this receipt and I unreceive it, I don't want to recognize that cost right away. I want to recognize it later. I don't want to earn the revenue right now. I want to recognize it as I install that material. When one ticket is on a receipt like we have right here, I could say, I'm going to put this into job inventory. I want to manage how those costs are recognized. So now I'm going to, that box is checked. I'm going to receive this receipt again. And now if we look at the work ticket, it's going to look a little different. I don't have an actual cost, but I have 100 in inventory. And that's what job inventory does. The life cycle of the receipt after received, it moves forward the same way what you do today. Next step is it gets approved, it gets pushed over, you pay the bill. On your job costing in Aspire, I'm not going to recognize those costs and earn the associated revenue until we start allocating that material. So if I click on the green plus, now I'm inside the ticket just to look at item allocation. There are my Autumn Blaze maples. Shows me what receipt it's tied to. And I can allocate these from that job inventory. So as the crews install them, I can do it from the ticket here. And we put 15 trees in today. And I recognize those costs based off installed or as I allocate it, instead of taking everything up front and earning all the associated revenue. 85 left, 15 remaining. Sorry, 15 allocated. And if I back out of here to look at the work ticket, I'm going to go back into the gear, look at my earned revenue. Right, I'm not earning $70,000 anymore. I'm only earning based off what was allocated from job inventory. Okay.
Greg, it sounds like there's some additional questions on where those items are ending up. So kind of in between, are they actually going into inventory when you do this? And can you explain what happens at the end of the ticket?
Yeah, absolutely. So as this job is in progress, we've got this install ticket. We put in 15 of the 100 trees so far. Nothing we're doing right now is going to report in your real inventory. The job inventory lives in this world right here. It's tracked on this purchase receipt. It's assigned to this work ticket. Now, as we move through the job, we're going to continue to allocate the remaining trees. And also want to point out, in this example, we're allocating from the work ticket itself. Job inventory permits crews and crew mobile to allocate what they installed. You also have the ability from time entry to allocate the materials that were installed from job inventory. Now, as we move through the life cycle of this ticket, we're going to get to the point where this job is done and we want to complete the ticket. So if I go down to the gear in the lower right and complete this, I'm given an option. And what this window is telling me is you purchase materials in a job inventory. You are trying to complete the ticket. And what it's asking is, what should we do with the materials you did not allocate? Now, this is a bit of an extreme example. I allocated 15 trees out of 100, but what it wants to know is, what do I do with those trees that you haven't put there? And I could check the box right here, and it will cost the remaining trees to that ticket, which is common. I purchased them for this job. I'm going to cost them for that job. So now my actual materials are back where I expect them to be. The other option that could come up on that screen when you complete the ticket is if it's a material item in your catalog that exists today that is an inventory item. Mulch is probably a common example. Maybe it was a big enough job where, yeah, I carry some mulch inventory, but I did a direct ship. I dropped 100 yards to the site. When the ticket is completed, the other box that pops up is, if it's an inventory item, you can cost it to the ticket, or you can choose to put the remaining material into your regular inventory. But you only have that option if it is in your catalog and already flagged as an inventory item.
Great explanation, Greg. Just one more area of clarity to answer another question that came up. Those
Sure.
items do not get costed into inventory, right? They're costed to that ticket as they are applied, so they never affect your actual inventory. They are only applied to the ticket unless, as Greg mentioned, it is an actual inventory item and you move those costs when you complete the ticket, any unused items into inventory. That's the only time your actual inventory is affected, right? So otherwise it just gets tracked to that ticket. I do think it's a great tool to be able to spread the costing of those materials, particularly for a lot of large materials. You get a lot for tree installs where you can delay the application of the cost so that you can more accurately track where you're at in the installation of the project as opposed to just accepting the cost.
Mm-hmm. And on the work tickets, on a work ticket level, when you're looking at your costing, right, this is what it looks like when you're allocating from job inventory dash the receipt number that it came from.
Excellent. One other question about job inventory. When you're allocating from Crew Mobile, Greg, you want to just talk us through what that looks like compared to a regular inventory item?
Yeah, what it'll look like on the Crew Mobile side is, and I believe I can, let's go here. See if I have a landscape install ticket, should be the one. And I go look at my materials from a Crew Mobile side. What happens when job inventory is they will have the ability to also allocate that material. Now, what did I do? I unreceived my receipt. So Crew Mobile has the ability to allocate from mobile themselves when job inventory is checked. Here's the receipt, job inventory, and the team in the field has the ability to say we did 15 today. This will flow through to time entry. So job here is what we installed, and then when the managers are reviewing time entry, that will flow through. They will see what the crew allocated. If they need to make adjustments to it, they can. And it'll look similar to what we saw within the ticket when we allocated. Let's go take a look. Right, there are the 15 trees the crew put in. Same thing, shows in the receipt it came from. And from a time entry perspective as well, same rules apply to your regular inventory. And again, this doesn't affect your regular inventory, but the material can be added manually as well if the crew forgot, right? And I'll see it right there. There's the receipt, that's my job inventory.
Good stuff, Greg. We got several questions in about how job inventory reports to the end of month. So probably is worthwhile to jump over there and just take a quick look at that end of month report for job inventory.
Sure. So let's go to the end of month report. Everyone's favorite report. Now, this was all coming up this month, so I'm going to just change my date. Now, this is going to show if I go to my expense tab. Here is, it's going to track what is in the world of inventory. So if I click into my material, where are my maples? I don't know if I accepted that. Let's keep it last month. I'm sorry, go to my inventory tab. So job inventory is going to be tracked within my job inventory tab to show me what are we purchasing into it and what are we allocating from it. So here in my job inventory materials section, this is everything we put into it. Here's what we purchased. And it's going to be, it's basically going to be maintaining a balance of what was purchased into inventory. There's my 100 trees. What did I pull out of that inventory? The 15 trees that we allocated. And maintain what is remaining in the world of job inventory so that, I mean, this ties back to we remember to complete the ticket. Did we leave it scheduled? We didn't allocate remaining items. We can see that within this end of month tab as well, and where those dollar figures are. What do we buy? What do we allocate?
Awesome. So any of those costs that are not hitting the ticket that we haven't allocated yet are going to show up in the end of month tab, end of month report job inventory tab in that job inventory, either the debit or the credit, depending on the balance there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. We'll probably have some additional job inventory discussion with our Q&A with our clients at the end as well. Lots of good questions about that.
Excuse me. The other thing we want to, in the world of purchasing, that we want to point out, and this is more falls under the category of stuff that came out within the new releases. It's more of a make sure that everybody is aware of this, is the integration with Landscape Hub. So when I create a purchase receipt, now this is permission related, what we're going to take a look at. Let's look at my landscape ticket that we've been using. There's my install ticket. We keep buying trees. So let me do more from here. What I want to point out is this Landscape Hub integration. This is a permission. So if I go to the Guerin or write a receipt, you have the ability to send a receipt to Landscape Hub. What it's really doing is this is designed towards companies that today have a they have a request for quote process is really what we're thinking about. Not everybody does it this way today, which is fine. I just kind of want to make you aware that this exists. You can create your receipt. You have the ability to add the materials. In this case, I'm purchasing trees. And you have the ability to submit this to Landscape Hub. What's going to happen is it's going to go to their system, and they're going to take it from there and essentially source the trees that we're looking for. On the Aspire side, what it's doing today is we're sending it from Aspire to Landscape Hub. They're going to source it. They're going to get back to you if they have questions. They're going to follow up with you from there. But it's a handy tool for people that have that process in place today, kind of that request for quote. I just might want to find the best price on these trees, see how I can pull that back. Here's where we can buy them. And they're going to help source that information for you. Here's where you can buy it from. And they're going to take it there from you. Okay. It's really phase one of the world of the integration. Down the road, where next steps are potential integration backwards, where some of that information could feed into Aspire. We're not there yet, but want everyone to make sure this exists. right? And keep an eye on it. It's permission related. And gives you the ability to source plant material for jobs, not just plant material, hardscape material as well, right? Let's find the best price. Let's improve our purchasing process. Okay. Now, what I wanted to take a look at next is two things that are related to the world of mobile, world of production. So what are your production guys going to see? There are override pay codes, there are visit notes. On the override pay code perspective, let's look at the opportunity. We're not going to look at the setup. We do have a recording that goes through all the details on the setup side. But by override pay codes, I'm talking about, it's typically always the world of prevailing wage. So you have the ability when you're creating an estimate, right? In my landscape install job, if this is a prevailing wage job, I've got an operator. It could be a 15% premium. It could be premium dollars. If a guy shows up on this site, it's he gets paid $35 an hour. That's what he gets paid. So you do have the ability to put these pay codes in from the estimating side. And on the mobile side, your crews have the ability to, if multiple pay codes are selected, to choose the pay code. Or if it's only one pay code, they also have the ability to just create the default, right? This is an example of it was set up. The potential exists. There's different prevailing wage codes. This person in the field could say, this is the umbrella I fall under. That's what they clock in. That's what flows time entry. Same rules apply, similar to allocating materials. This is still going to flow through to time entry. You are not stuck with the choice they make here. They might make a mistake. That's fine. Your managers have the ability when reviewing time entry to still see what they selected. They could override that pay code if necessary. If the job was set up as one prevailing wage code, that step could be avoided. That just becomes the default that you could assign. They don't have to think about it. They just still clock into the ticket. It wouldn't affect it. And from the world of mobile, we want to also bring up visit notes. Visit notes are a field that really serve their purpose in the world of construction jobs. So I'm going to click into visit notes, and I'm on this landscape install ticket. The idea behind visit notes is your crew leader can put notes in here that can be recorded on the ticket. What happened today? It's, good, bad, whatever it might be. Didn't get all trees today. Stopped early. Right. Visit notes are a way for the crew to track what is happening on this ticket. They're geared towards the world of construction. These visit notes are, I might be working on this install ticket for 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks. All these notes are going to flow through on the ticket. I can look at those just to see and keep an eye on that as we continue to do work. What we try and stay, the challenge with a maintenance perspective is they're different occurrences. I might have 30 maintenance tickets. A visit note is handy, that's great. It's specific to that ticket. But if I'm working on a ticket for a number of weeks or a long period of time, these visit notes will all be tracked here. If I open this ticket, here's everything that happened, right? I didn't get the trees, stopped early, whatever it is. Whatever they need to add on this ticket, they could record that note. It's going to timestamp it. Here's who put the note in there. We can see it. And it will be tracked on the work ticket level. And there's a few other areas you can see the visit notes. They're on the work ticket. They are on the opportunity. You can also get to them from the property. On an opportunity level, I can go see, there's visit notes. So on an install job, I might want to take a look if I've got a number of tickets going on during that job. I can see them all in one place. What is everything I need to see that the crew is making notes on, just to, so we have a record of it, we can track it, make good decisions moving forward. Anything we need to record. Okay. Any questions so far? I think we're okay.
I think we're okay.
All right. So what is the last section that we want to hit today? We want to talk the wonderful world of the job dashboard. I'm going to go an opportunist. So everything that we were looking at so far, we're talking about work tickets, you're purchasing, maybe using job inventory. We got potential pay codes, the crew, visit notes, right? All of that is feeding into, I want to look at the job. Where do we, this is just a construction projects that are in production. I want to see how we're doing. Where should I go? I want to show from the list perspective, these three icons on the right. These also fall under a category I see a lot of the time, people don't know they're there. These are shortcuts. So what we're looking at is in my in-production construction review, you also have shortcuts to the P&L. Just a quick click. All right, here's how we're doing. There's a shortcut here for the job report. This is more work ticket based. Right, here are the different tickets, percent complete, summary of everything that's going on. But where we're really going to focus is our friend, the job report, which is this little, we'll call it looks like a windshield. So our opportunity, let's go to our friend, Daily Planet, and go to the job dashboard. The idea behind the job dashboard is we can go to one place to see everything related to the job. Now there's three tabs. First, the summary tab. It's giving me a snapshot of where everything stands, okay? Here is the original price, change orders, right? What did we sell versus estimated costs? I'm not going to go through and define all these fields because I don't think anyone wants to hear me do that. But it's a snapshot of everything on the opportunity, cost versus actuals. These can be wherever you see this underline slightly different color too, they can be drilled in. So our cost to date is 4.79%. If I drill into that, right, what's the story on those costs? Here's where those costs are coming from. This is going to be tracking what have I invoiced to date versus receivables that we've taken in. If the world of retention starts to get involved, right, it's going to remove that from it. I can see that within here. And this is going to tie to our cash flow summary over here. The idea behind this tab is I want a snapshot of what's going on. Just give me the summary. If I see something that looks a little out of line or out of whack and I need to follow up on, well, I'll drill into it from there and then I can find out what the problem is. The breakdown tab is really just focusing on my costs. Again, here's what was estimated, labor, material, equipment, sub other. Here are my estimated costs. versus what we've costed so far, and what is the variance stand today versus the percent of the job versus percent of estimated. The last tab is the Gantt chart. Now what this is showing me is really, again, it's another summary about this job. Let's do a little week adjustment. You can look at it by week or by month, but what's talking to the Gantt are the work tickets, right? So here's the demo ticket that I have scheduled, additional tickets. So I'm going to do the demo first. Then I got a hardscape install ticket. I'm looking at these tickets that are scheduled. It also will come in. You can also have activities show up in these from the work tickets. Right? Do I have to do a call before you dig? Right? Here's a task that we want it done by the 6th, probably before we start doing any kind of hardscape install. We can see that in this chart, summarize it. Do we have everything mapped out as we expected? What's the life cycle of this job? You know, does it look right? Does it look wrong? Do we have to make adjustments from here? Any adjustments we make, they're going to be on the work ticket activity level themselves. I'm not adjusting from here, but it's just giving me a Gantt chart view of the job itself. And the job dashboard, I also want to point out, I don't think I did in the beginning, this is also permission related. So if someone goes to look at their job dashboard today, they don't see the shortcut that I added. You can do this from the opportunity list. If I drill into the opportunity, you also have the ability to get to the job dashboard. If I go to the white piece of paper, just where the work ticket list is, I have a job dashboard here. It's also a permission related to roles. So if it's something that you don't see, I'd start there. It's probably a role permission. But this is ultimately snapshot. Where do we stand? How do we look? Real time, tickets, expenses, labor, good, bad. Otherwise, I got the information here so I can make decisions moving forward and managing the project. Okay. Now that was last in the world of bullet points and just kind of overview items we want to double check. Travis, if we want to just kind of open the floor.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Greg. I think we probably have several questions that are actively being typed in about job dashboards, so maybe we'll circle back to those as we
I would assume so, yeah.
Yeah, don't have any yet, but we'll bring those in and maybe ask some of our clients to answer those as well. So keep those questions coming. Greg, thanks for walking us through this. A ton of really great info, and there's a ton more to talk about. So I want to, let me do this because I can't click and talk at the same time. I want to bring on our two clients that are going to be sharing some of their best practices. So we've got John Caramanico from Caramanico & Sons that's here, and Ryan Harvey from Reno Green. We're super appreciative of them joining us, and we've got some questions. But just to get started, John, we'll start with you. If you want to just introduce yourself, let us know what you do at Caramanico and how you guys are tackling these large construction projects.
My name's John Caramanico Jr. My brother and I are fourth generation owners of C. Caramanico & Sons. We're located in Philadelphia, or just outside Philadelphia. And we are commercial landscape contractors. We do commercial landscape maintenance, landscape enhancements and constructions, and snow and ice.
Awesome. Thanks, John. And Ryan is back with us from Reno Green. And Ryan, I think this time your microphone actually works. So you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ryan from Reno Green Landscaping. We're out of Reno, Nevada. We've been in business since 1975. We're a full landscape provider and contractor. We do commercial and high-end residential, as well as snow and ice control.
Awesome. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate both of you guys being with us today. We hit on a lot of topics. Greg started with the schedule board. So I want to start there as well and just talk a little bit, if you will, and Ryan, I'll let you start on this one, about your scheduling process and what that looks like. I know there's lots of different ways to tackle, particularly these larger construction jobs or jobs that may last a long time. Let's talk a little bit about your strategy for getting those tickets scheduled and how that's happening in your organization.
So currently we have a series of lists that are set up that shows us open tickets, tickets that are in scheduled and in process. And we have a weekly process where we go and evaluate the jobs that are on the schedule, if it's, moving or sliding, or maybe there's somebody in front of us, another contractor who they haven't hit their schedule and the finish grade isn't done. So we have to kind of hopscotch between jobs. So we go in there and make those adjustments every week. And we live and die by those lists. It keeps us on track. So we know if we miss something, like maybe a ticket didn't get scheduled or there's no future visits and, something occurred in shuffling and it dropped off the schedule accidentally. So it's really all based on those lists.
Awesome. Excellent. Sounds like a testimonial for work ticket management, so I appreciate that. John, what about your team?
So we have a similar process. We have a weekly meeting on Thursdays that's focused on scheduling and the scheduling challenges in the construction world. We have a director of our construction and enhancement division, and he kind of owns that schedule. If you have a question about when a project's going to happen or where the material is, Matt on our team is the man who kind of presents the schedule to operations managers who answer to him, and then the account managers who sell the work and have communication with the clients.
Awesome. One quick question, because there's a couple of strategies, and this should be quick for both of you. You can schedule the ticket like Greg showed us today for those large construction projects. You can also assign a property and services directly to the route. I was just curious if either of you are utilizing that strategy for larger construction projects, or if you're scheduling the tickets onto the schedule board.
We schedule the tickets onto the schedule board. There's a lot of fluidity in our crews where, we have some very, very large projects. You might have one crew working there this week and next week 3 crews. So we do it all on the scheduling board.
We do the same, schedule board.
Okay. Excellent. So just wanted to get some feedback there, and appreciate that. Excellent. The rest of my team, if you have questions, feel free to interrupt me, but I'm going to keep going at the moment. Greg got into the purchasing side and talked about job inventory. We had tons of questions from those that are watching on job inventory as well. I think there's strong opinions about this on both sides, whether you like it or not. So first question for John and Ryan, are you guys currently using job inventory in your process? And if so, how are you using it?
I'll go first. We do not use job inventory. We have not used job inventory since it's become available. We have enough challenges managing regular inventory.
Fair enough. Ryan, what about you?
We don't use it through Aspire yet. We have our own processes here using some Excel spreadsheets, and we use QuickBooks as well. So we purchase things for that job using the ticket number so we can identify it quickly within our own organization. And then, we have a way of segregating it in our yard or in our satellite yards so that we understand this inventory is for this commercial job. But we don't do it through the Aspire system yet.
Okay, fair enough. Appreciate those answers from both of you. And you know, I think in construction in particular, I'll say this to those that are listening, there's lots of variability in how things are managed. And while at Aspire, we'd love for you to do everything through Aspire, we also realize that's not how everybody operates. And there's things that, one, we don't do exactly how you want to do it. But we hope we give you at least access to the data so that you can manage it well, even if you choose to do that outside of the system, and the ability to export lists and get to that data. So we embrace all of it. We'll continue to work hard to get you to be able to do it inside the system if you want. Any other job inventory questions, team, that you want to ask of John or Ryan or anything else? I'm seeing head shaking no, so I'm going to assume not. All right, let's move on. Greg hit on, I think, a really key thing if you're working with prevailing wage in particular, is the ability to set those pay code overrides and allow your crew leaders to select which pay code they are working with, right? Just what task they are doing, and Aspire will assign the correct pay code. So, Ryan, we'll start with you on this one. One, are you doing any prevailing wage work? And if so, are you utilizing the pay code override for that?
We are not right now. Our last prevailing wage was prior to Aspire having this in there, so we would have used it at that time so that we would understand who was doing what on the job.
Okay, John?
We don't do any prevailing wage work.
Excellent. I think you'd get a lot of votes to not do prevailing wage if you can get away from it, because it is a bit of a hassle. But we have got good feedback from our clients about that. I know it can be a little bit nervous allowing your employees to select that, but I think Greg mentioned as well, that's still an editable field on the time entry. So really, you're just letting your crew members on Crew Mobile, or your crew leader on Crew Mobile, do the beginning work, the legwork for you, and hopefully they're going to get the majority of it right. You only have to edit a little bit instead of editing it all there. Excellent. We talked a lot about how to communicate with crews, and Aspire has a tool called Visit Notes, one of the many ways that you can communicate from our Crew Mobile through Crew Mobile to your crews. So whether you're using Visit Notes or not, just wanted to get some feedback on how your teams are utilizing the tools in Aspire, whether it's Operation Notes or Visit Notes, the Issues module, to communicate with your crew leaders, particularly for these large jobs. And John, we'll start with you on this one.
We push to communicate as much as possible through Aspire. So we use everything. We use the Issues for communication on properties. We use Issues for communication on tickets. We use Visit Notes. We use Work Ticket Notes. So when understanding the lingo took a little bit and getting everybody on board with that, which has its role and which, the functionality of each, but we push to communicate as much as we can through Aspire because it's visible to everybody in the organization.
Awesome. Thanks, John. Ryan, what about you, your team?
We do the same thing over here. We rely heavily on the Issues for lots of different kinds of communication. We also use Proposal Description 1 and Proposal Description 2 for other things, like maybe we're trying to say something special about, I don't know, the demo or something. We use Proposal Description 2 for a lot of things like that. But we want everything to be in Aspire as well. So it would be great if there was like a texting function or something, because a lot of folks like to communicate that way, and we have sometimes a hard time grabbing those things and getting them into the system.
Yeah, absolutely, and that may be something that we see in a future version of Aspire. So awesome. Just on Visit Notes one more time, and maybe either of you can speak to this. I think each of the different types of communication, whether it's visit notes or operation notes or issues, have their own strengths and weaknesses. So if you can speak to a little bit of how you're using, what type of communication you're using with visit notes compared to operation notes and or issues, if you could speak to that, I think that'd be worthwhile information for those that are watching.
Honestly, visit notes is used more for us in maintenance world. If there's weeds in the flower beds or the customer has a certain request that week during the visit, that's where we use that a lot more. Ticket notes for us is used a lot in construction, more so in construction.
Okay, excellent. Thanks, John. Ryan, what about you all?
Yeah, it's the same over here too. Our visit notes are used heavily in maintenance, especially by the irrigation techs who are saying, I went here and repaired this thing on this side of the property. And the ticket notes have like the summary of the job, and that's what we're pushing out through construction. Not to say that the visit notes couldn't be utilized better in construction. It's just that's not been something that they've adopted yet or that we've adopted yet into the field, but I can see how that would work well coming back into the job.
Excellent. We built visit notes for construction jobs, and you guys are both finding value in maintenance, which is exactly how this goes. So that's awesome. Good feedback, and I think there's some value on the construction side too if you're listening and using this. The value I see on visit notes for construction is that you can give a note for that particular day, and then the next day it's gone, right? So it's not cluttering up the operation notes field day over day when it's really just a note for that particular day, right? So today on Tuesday, you want to make sure that they stay away from the courthouse because that's where everybody's voting at today, right? They don't need that note tomorrow, right? So you can stick it as a visit note. It only affects today's visit, not tomorrow's. So you can get a little bit more specific, but it's a great tool. I'm glad you're finding value on the maintenance side as well. Excellent. My team, any other communication questions, anything else come in that we need to run by John or Ryan? Okay. Last thing I've got on my list to talk about is the job dashboard. And there's a ton of information in the job dashboard, a lot going on there. And just wanted to touch base with you all if you're seeing any value from your team taking a look at the job dashboard and utilizing that for your construction projects, and if so, kind of the process for using that. So, Ryan, if you want to kick this one off.
Because we do our purchasing outside of Aspire right now, the only thing that we're really tracking through Aspire is our production hours. So I think the job dashboard looks amazing and could absolutely be something that would function well for us in the future. But currently it's just estimated versus actual labor hours and scheduling that we're utilizing Aspire for.
Okay, excellent. John?
So during that weekly call that we talked about earlier, when we schedule work, we run through kind of a scorecard for the company, how we did from estimated hours to actual hours to buying the material for each job. But what I've been most excited about with the job dashboard is, just around the office, hearing guys diving into that, taking a look at how projects are performing. And the information there is like real time. If you're managing work tickets, you got a real time live job dashboard of where the job's at, where it's heading, and how we can, if it's running off the rails a little bit, how can we bring it back on the rails by the time we complete it. So I think that's been the most powerful and useful part of job dashboard.
Awesome. Yeah. Great. There's a ton of information in that little job dashboard button, and I think it gives you a pretty quick overview of how you're doing. So that's what we're hoping for. We continue to get pretty good feedback about that, and of course, lots of suggestions about how it could be better. We continue to look and listen to those things, and we'll probably continue to add additional features there. One thing that is interesting or available pretty easily on the job dashboard is a look at your overtime hours. One of the things that might be a little bit more difficult to see elsewhere in the system, but you can see it very easily on the job dashboard breakdown tab, is a look at your total hours and then your overtime hours on the job on that tab, so that's really cool. Unless there's other questions coming in that we need to answer, John, Ryan, just wanted to give you guys both an opportunity if there's anything that you're doing related to your construction production management that you wanted to share with others. Wanted to give you that opportunity. Maybe it's something that we hadn't asked a question about, but you wanted to share, or any last thoughts. John, we'll start with you.
I think one of the things that, we've been in Aspire since 2017, and something that we've come up with is just keeping things simple from an estimating standpoint. When you give the crews too many work tickets, the information coming back could get a little bit skewed. So we've really been pushing with our estimators and account managers, keep things simple so that the crews can go out there, clock in the work tickets, and produce accurate data for us coming back to review.
Yeah, awesome. We spent a lot of time last week talking about estimating, and I appreciate you mentioning that on the production one as well, keeping it simple. We have a tendency to complicate things, right? We think more is better. I'm definitely in that boat, but keeping things simple and easy to manage, I think, is an absolute best practice and key in Aspire, and frankly, in business management and life in general. The simpler you can keep it, the better off you're going to be. Ryan, what about you?
I concur with that. Don't get crazy with your tickets, and keep it simple. One of the things that we struggled with over here was when tickets are moving on the schedule, you can only see where it is right now, right? You don't know what happened to it, and so we had a lot of arguments within our staff, like, well, wait a minute, that was scheduled for the first week in November, and now it's not, and I don't understand why, etc. So one of the things we've done over here is when the job goes in, an issue goes in, and that issue is the scheduling issue. And just like the visit notes coming in from the field, every time that ticket moves or something is occurring, we just go and update that scheduled issue so you can see why it's sliding in the schedule or why it got done earlier or what kind of obstacles we might have been trying to overcome within our labor allocation.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds like a terrific way to manage that process and have good visibility to how and why those visits may have moved on the schedule board. Great, Ryan. Thanks for sharing that. We're going to wrap things up. John, Ryan, I can't thank you all enough for taking your time out and answering some questions, being put on the spot with us this afternoon. So thanks for joining us and sharing your best practices. Just as a quick reminder for everyone else, we're not quite done with this yet. We've got a couple additional webinars coming up on Thursday. Kevin and Brian Moores will be walking through construction reporting. We're going to tackle the Magic Whip, work in progress, and all of those other reports that we need to do to manage our businesses well. And then next Tuesday, Peggy and I will be tackling invoicing and sending out pay applications from Aspire. So a couple more exciting topics to cover. We appreciate everybody joining us. Greg, thanks so much for walking through this training today. And again, this webinar will be available for review on Aspire Care in our construction webinar series module on Aspire Care, along with those training videos. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great Tuesday, and last reminder, if you haven't voted yet, go out and get to your polls.